what I did on the last live, just like an hour and a half ago or something like that, was use Melodyne to tune my guitar, a polyphonic instrument, which was really cool because it worked perfectly. So, having done that, I'm just looking for other things in the song, and I'm noticing that these two drum tracks, I want them to kind of glue together more. There's a term called glue, and it just makes everything sound together. It makes it sound like one thing made up by smaller things instead of different things kind of all over the place. It's hard to explain a little bit, but it's called glue because of that. It sonically makes it sound like one thing. And a lot of times we do that with compression. So just to give you a quick little crash course on compression, because compression is a super important thing to know about when producing, making music, mixing, anything that you're doing. Compression is really important because basically it's dynamics processing. Dynamics means loud and soft. So how dynamic something is the difference between the loudest part and the softest part. If somebody sings very dynamically, it means they could be really soft in one part of the song and then blaring in another part of the song. That's just super dynamic. It's dynamic range, right? So we use compression on pretty much everything in a mix. Let me just pull up a compressor so you can see what's really cracking. Dynamics, of course, right? I am going to use the C2, right? Fabfilter Pro-C 2, which is a stupid dope compressor. Okay. Okay. Just to let y'all know real quick. That's me on Fabfilter's website. So, just so you know, I do endorse them. This is Fabfilter's artist page, and that is, I guess, their main homepage. Yeah, they make some incredible plugins. They really do. They make some incredible plugins. I also endorse Waves, who makes. Come on, Waves is just a whole beast of their own. They make the most plugins of any company in the world. It's incredible what they do. They make so many plugins. I don't know if anyone could ever use all of them in a lifetime. They make so many plugins. But then you have these smaller boutique companies that make very specific things, and they don't make a million of them, but they make very specific things, and they specialize. Way, this is a compressor. Now, don't be intimidated by that if you don't know what a compressor is, because I'm about to help you understand this. Where did I put it on? I put it on the live drum track. All right, cool. So let's just play the live drum track, right? You got threshold, you got ratio, you have attack and release. Those are the main things that you need to understand. So basically what a compressor does, it lifts everything, cuts off the top. If you think of it that way, then you can understand why it makes the dynamic range smaller, because you're raising everything and you're cutting off the top. So these knobs right here, let me make sure you guys can see them. Okay, cool. These knobs determine how it does that. So every one of these knobs answers a different question. That's how I want to teach this. Threshold answers the question, when do I attenuate? Meaning, when do I pull the signal down? When do I lower the level? When, under what circumstances do I lower the level? Well, you lower the level when the sound gets over this threshold, right? And I can set that threshold anywhere. If I play the drums and I put the threshold way down here, you can see that as soon as it gets over that very low threshold, it's pulling everything down. Right? So if I bypass that, you got that. If I don't bypass that and it's working, you get that. And you can hear that the levels are very even, right? But that sounds super unnatural and horrible. So we don't want to do that. But that was to show you what threshold does. I want the threshold on this. I don't know. Let's see. Cool thing about this is the graphic readout. It shows you exactly how much it's attenuating the signal. This is the attenuation of the signal, this red line right here. All right, so I'm going to bring it down to about right here. I don't want too much to happen to it. Actually, yeah. Yeah. So the ratio answers the question by how much. So when do you want me to pull the signal down after it gets to this threshold? By how much? Let's say 4-to-1. That means if the level comes in 4 dB over the threshold, it reduces it to 1 dB, 1/4. It's a fraction. However high it is above that threshold, it doesn't pull it down absolutely to the threshold. It pulls it down by a ratio. So if it goes up 4 dB, pull it down 3 and leave me 1. So it still moves a little bit. It still sounds natural. It doesn't just limit it. A limiter is another thing, which is just brick wall. But a compressor still allows for some dynamic range, just not as much. So ratio is by how much? Right now we got 4-to-1. We can go all the way to 100-to-1. Then you really have a limiter, right? Let's make it. See, if I put that down to 1-to-1, there is no compression because for every 4 dB it goes up, it leaves it at 4 dB. So there's absolutely no compression happening at a 1-to-1 ratio. But if I take it to, let's say a 3, I think about a 3. I'll put it at about a 3-to-1 ratio, right? Yeah, I already got a little bit more power from it. Okay, what am I? Right. I shouldn't use this. Let me not do that. So you'll see why in a minute. So I'm bypassing it now. That's the original signal. That's it working, right? I'm gonna pull the threshold down so you can hear. Right. On this plugin, I can hear the difference only. So if I hit this, that's how much it's being attenuated and where and for how long you can hear it. So all right, cool. So attack is how fast, right? Attack answers the question, how fast? How fast do you want me to bring the sound down? Do you want me to let it come through for a second and then bring it down? A second I use loosely because right now we're at 25 milliseconds. I do want to let the first part of that signal come through, but 25 milliseconds after it comes through, I want you to start pulling it down. And I want you to pull it down at a 3-to-1 ratio at this threshold, right? Okay. You're getting it now, right? And then release is when do you want me to let it go? Right? It's another how fast. How fast do you want me to let it go? Attack is how fast you want me to grab it. Once I grab it, release is how fast you want me to let it go. So with a compressor, you're also kind of creating rhythm because if I have it on drums, I kind of want it to let it go before the next drum. If I'm like, cat, cat, by the time that comes, I want it to be fully open again. So I create a rhythm by adjusting my attack and my release so that when the next major drum hits, I'm still not attenuated, but I let it come back for that kick or that snare and then bring it back again. And the trail of the kick and the snare is pulled down, but not so much that original hit. So you have a less noisy more clear representation of the rhythm. So the reason I took this auto gain off is because this is called makeup gain. When I set this threshold and it pulls everything down after that threshold, according to this ratio, this fast, and then releases at this speed, then the perceived level of the overall track is going to come down because only attenuation is happening. But gain, or makeup gain, makes up for the gain that you lost when you pulled the signal down. So in this plugin, though, because Fabfilter is amazing, you have auto gain. So as you pull down the threshold, it's automatically pulling up the gain to the same degree that you pulled down the threshold. So all you hear is what the compressor is doing because it's staying at the same perceived level. Super smart, right? So you got all right. I'm not gonna go into knee, range, look ahead, and hold. If you have oversampling, turn it on. It just creates the internal precision of the plugin to be greater than that of the signal coming in, so that the resolution of what it's doing is even higher than it would have been otherwise. I know that's super nerdy. It's gonna get super nerdy at Bluetooth University sometimes. I'm just saying, put the oversampling up. If it kills your computer and makes your computer want to die, then don't do it. Bypass. See how weak that is compared to, it just got bigger, right? All right, so I'm gonna save. There's something else that's really cool about this plugin, but I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna tell you about that. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But really what I'm trying to do with this compressor is glue these two kits together so they sound more like one kit. And again, you know, there's two schools of thought. I'm about to say two opposing things that are both true, right? One is, I'm not mixing this record right now. And two is, I'm always mixing, right? So I'm not mixing this record in that I'm not trying to achieve the final mix. And if I do approach this record from a mixing standpoint, once everything is done, I could erase all of this and start from scratch. But in order to make the record, I need a certain amount of balance to know if what I did is working. So I'm always mixing throughout the process of making a record. I'm always using plugins like this to make sure my choices are right. My choices have to prove themselves to me. I don't know that they're good choices just because I made them. They have to actually prove themselves in the environment of the song, or I make a different choice, right? So that is as much of that as I want to show you right now. It gets deeper, but if you understand the principles I just showed you, there's a whole lot that you can do, and you'll understand most compressors, because most compressors don't even have any more parameters than what I just showed you. So I'm gonna get rid of this off this channel. I got these two drum kits, right? I got the synth drums. There's a decent balance on those. All right. And I got the live drums. Right? So together they sound like this. I mean, it's not like they sound terrible or anything, but let me pull these toms down a little bit. I think I want to pull floor tom 2 never happens. So I'm gonna pull this one down, and I'm gonna pull this one down about 5 dB. Oh no, floor tom 2 does happen. It happens right here. So let's pull that down about 5 dB. I don't know if that's how much it needs, but Okay, the pre-roll is not working right now, which probably means it's set to something like 0. Yeah, okay. That's 1 bar. I'm gonna wait till the times happen to see. Oh, the rec time too. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I have both of these synth and live drums coming out of drums, which is my channel 1 and 2. I usually have my drums kind of 1 and 2, but let me see. Yeah, I don't want to do that because I want to glue them together. So I'm gonna create. Let's duplicate this. All right. Oh, there's another. Okay, I just thought of another way I could do this, but I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm just gonna duplicate that track. So now I have this. Do I have a drum master? Did I rename it? Good. Okay, so the Pro Tools won't let you name 2 tracks the same name. Other sequencers will. So drum master, right? This is coming from drum master. So I have to create another one for this one. So let's. Wait, hold on. Synth drums and then drum master. But both of these have to go out to something else. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make a bus called 35 and 36 is going to be, call it anything. Call it both kits. Just call it all drums. Make it sound a little more personal. All drums, right? So this and this, I held down shift. Now I'm holding down shift and option to make both of these go to the bus I just created, which is called all drums. Now, both of these should go here. Yeah. So I can disable this solo and that solo. I did that with shift option and command at the same time. It can disable the solo that way. Then I can just use the solo here. And that's all my drums. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to try to use that compressor to kind of glue them together and make them sound more like one kit. And then I don't want them to be super loud in this one part of the song. I want the drums to have pretty much the same level throughout the record. So now I got all the drums going to one place and I can affect them all together and individually on the individual track. So I have the flexibility to do both because of my routing, right? So let's go to dynamics processing and use my C2 yet again. All right. Yet again, I have my C2, my professional C2, right? Okay, cool. It's getting a lot of signals, so we're going to put the threshold a little higher. Four to one. Okay, let me see about 3 to 1. I might not want to compress that much. Okay, so now I noticed that it feels like it brings the live kick up a lot. So since anything I put on this track, or yeah, on this channel is going to affect the mix to some degree. I can go back and just bring those guys down a little bit. That's the kick. These are the 3 mics that are on the kick. I'll bring those down. Sounds a lot like one kick, one kit. All right, so let's do this. I don't want it to be overpowering. I just want it to add some energy to the song and some humanness to the song. See how I got much weaker? I got a lot weaker when I turn that off. Now it has more power. All right, I'm gonna duplicate this. And I'm gonna turn this one off. All right, that's holding command down. If I touch it, it'll bypass. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do something else that I learned as New York compression. So basically what you would do is you would take the entire drum track, you would copy it to another channel, you'd heavily compress it to where it sounds horrible, and then you'd mix that heavily compressed signal with the original signal, and you just kind of raise it up under it until it gives it power, but it doesn't make it sound too compressed. And then you still have the dynamics and you have the humanness of the original thing, but if you take that really compressed signal that's under it away, you just feel a whole lot of power go away. You hear it more if you let it go. You don't so much hear that it's there, but if you take it away, then it'll change your whole mix. You'll have to change the whole mix around it, because whatever you did that to, you can do it to drums, you can do it to bass, you can do it to a lot of different things. I'm going to do that with one plugin, because with this plugin, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to heavily just mess up. Oh, wow. I'm not even going to... What? Punch? Okay. The ratio is going to get way up. Right. Now here I can actually see the rhythm of how fast this is. How fast it's letting go. It's never going to 0 because the threshold is so low. I mean, this sounds pretty horrible, which is what I want. Now, bypass that, right? Unbypass the other one. That sounds great. All right, put that back in. Right. All right. Oh, there it is. Okay. This determines what frequencies are being compressed, or what frequencies affect the compressor, which is really great, but I'm not going to get too deep into that. Now, any effect, anytime you're affecting something, there's something called wet and dry. So Wet is the affected signal. How wet it is how much of the affected signal is present in relation to the dry or original signal, right? So you got, if I bypass this, all you have is what you consider the dry signal, and the affected signal would be the wet signal. So here you have dry. I can add the dry signal into it. So I basically get that New York style compression if I bring the original signal into the whole thing. So now bypass, back on. I might need to compress the kick from the live kit individually, which I'll actually go do. Let's use no. I love the H comp, but it's a little too transparent for what I want to do right now. Let's use the Renaissance. Yeah. Sometimes you just want something to simply get the job done. Let's take that, copy it here. Let's bypass these. Okay. That's too much. Okay. I'm not gonna really know what I want until I hear everything in context, but so let's see what it sounds like relative to the part of the song where there is no live kit. Okay. I might want to include a limiter in this situation. So let's go here. I'm gonna hold shift when I do this. Yeah, my computer's very angry right now. I wouldn't want to do that. I just want you to hear what it is. That's a limiter. Meaning once it gets over the threshold, it's not letting it get no higher no matter what. It's limited right there. I just want a little bit of this on there. It's a little tighter, okay. Now I think the main kick is a little hot. By the way, in these headphones, I don't even know if the mix is the way it would sound on the speakers, so I hope it sounds good to you as it does to me. As long as you can hear the difference that the plugins are making, it's cool. I might not want that. Okay. Yeah. Hey. I didn't feel like I lost the live kit when that came in. I think everything went away because the whole drum everything has a compressor on it, right? Hey. Oh, wow. Where the drums go, right? Vocals still on top. Yes. Wow, everything is very separate, and the stereo image is very nice, and everything has its own space. Let me see. Okay, so how am I still hearing? Oh, right. That was kind of cool though. You know what I did? I put two things in the same frequency range in a different place in the audio spectrum. I panned the guitar to the left and the piano to the right, so they're like this. What I'll probably do is have the guitar maybe off to the left a little bit at the beginning of the song, and when the piano comes in, I'll push it farther to the left, and at the end where the piano's getting loose, I'll push the guitar even farther to the left and widen that whole thing so the guitar is more here and the piano's more here, and they can talk to each other. It feels like they're talking to each other, like there's some type of back and forth going on between the piano and the guitar, which is what should be happening. Little snare ain't so little no more, so because of what we did with the compression. But now, of course, I can go in and individually change things to accommodate what the big compressor is doing. So a little snare is going to come down a little bit. right, still got drums.
Any moment I could lose it all. Yeah. Don't know how long I can hold on, and I wish that I could take it back. Now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have said it. I got lost in the moment and laid all my feelings out on the floor, and I don't know what'll happen next. She got me on this thing. Feel my heart sing when I said those 3 words. Don't you see me on this? Oh, it's like a life on the edge. Ain't as fun as they say it is. Can't make this a habit.
Okay, that big clap might be loud, but it felt good. Pull it down a little bit.
Ain't as fun as they say it is. Can't make this a habit. You can have it. This is the way it is. The way it is. Yeah. Hanging on for dear life. What she thinking? How she gonna leave me hanging? Heart sick.
Okay, this hi-hat, right? The live hi-hat, I think I want to tighten it up and lower the level a little bit, meaning compress it more. That LA2A is one of my favorite compressors in the world, but not for what I want to do right now. It gives things a more human characteristic. I put it on vocals a lot. It's definitely on the backgrounds, probably on the lead vocal too. But in this particular situation, I want to smash the hi-hat in an unhuman type of way. And I want to just leave it at this level the whole time. So I'm going to use the Pro-C too. And I'm actually move the song to where that's going to play, so I don't have to wait for it forever.
This is the way
that auto gain helps out so much because it brings up the makeup gain automatically, so all you hear is the difference in the compression. Yeah, I don't want the shaker to be too out front.
got me on.
Yeah. So there's music and there's sonics, right? Music is what notes, what key, what the melody is. Sonics is what frequencies are represented at what times, at what levels, right? And just clarity and the things that make anything sound good is sonics. So as far as I'm concerned, music is more debatable. Music is more subjective than sonics, which is why, old people can like things like The Chronic, which musically you wouldn't think, old white lady would be listening to The Chronic, but it's happened. It's happened millions of times because it's just sonically so, it just sounds good, right? So I want my music to be such that even if you don't like the song, it simply sounds good to the human ear. Sonics make things sound good to anyone. So I've hooked you with something that at your base nature, you can't deny. And that is the clarity, the feeling that it gives you, the wideness of the stereo spectrum, all those things that people really can't put their finger on are oftentimes why a person likes a song rather than another song. And it's not necessarily because of the song. It's because of how good the song sounds. And the stuff I'm showing you now is how you make anything sound good. The lyric and melody technically is the song. It can be sung a cappella. That's the song. But what you hear recorded is called a record. I'm making a song into a record. And a record is supposed to have a certain type of sonic quality level. That's what I'm looking to achieve when I throw a plug-in on a track, is that I want it to sound like a record and not just like a song. All right. I'm out. Just want to show y'all that real quick.